Hello and welcome to the channel and episode 5 of the shelf layout build. Today's episode will be looking at adding ballast and some sort of dirt effect at the back for like a car park, and then doing a car park at the front as well. So at the back I'm using this fine dark brown ballast just for like as a yard for the railway. So we'll put that down, and then there's a few other things we need to crack on in this episode. So how I'm going to do this, I'm going to put a layer of PVA glue down to start with, just to stick it down. I will then sprinkle it over the top, the ballast, let that dry, and then I'll go over that with the 50-50 sort of glue water mixture with a bit of fairy liquid in to seal it all in place, just to make sure it's all down. So this is just a cheap PVA glue, as you can see, and I'm just putting quite a bit of it down just to help it stick down to start with. Then with the glue spread, just going to spread it all out. I'm probably going to need a bit more glue than this, and then just spread it all out, and then we can start putting down the stuff. So I'm just using this fine brown ballast just because I had this pack already and I didn't want to go and spend another £5-6 on another bag of stuff. So just going to sprinkle it all over and then give it a really good use, and then I'll just spread it out a little bit. But the idea, this is just going to be a work yard for the railway. I might put a signal box on here, I might put or some sort of building as well, and then maybe a couple of vehicles, and then a few sort of bits and bobs, sort of like sleepers, wheels, that sort of thing you find at railway yards. So just with an old paintbrush, just spreading it out, and then hopefully that will dry, and then we can go over it and set it all in place a little bit later on. This is where we've got to. So I've not gone right up to the track because obviously I need to ballast the track, and then that will overspill anyway into it. But I've gone quite a far bit down. So I'm quite happy with that. Obviously you can see there's a bit of a texture to it as well. So just going to let that dry, and then I'll seal it up when I do the ballasting later. And then I've also decided, as you can see, to paint the car park road in front of you black. I did paint it grey, but I've decided to change it. So I've done that just before I start ballasting. So crack on with that, and then we can have a go at ballasting. So I've been using the Woodland Scenic ballast, and I've put it over this section just for now to see how I'm getting on, and it looks quite good. I've done it so it covers up the joint for like where the road car park area is going to be, and then I can put a fence and some shrubbery so that'll hide it all nicely. I've left this little brown back gap here. I'm going to put some static grass in there, make it look a bit wild and unkept. Obviously you've got the points areas which are a bit more difficult. And then I need to think of a plan for this little section here where the wiring is, but we'll come back to that. I might just put some shrubs just around there just to hide it, but come back to that at a later date. But that's how it is. And now I've got my PVA water fairy liquid formula, and I've got also my syringe, and I need to go over that and let that dry overnight. And I'm also going to go over like the soily area as well, because other than that I'm going to add just a few bits more in just where I need to. That's where the tree is going to be, that's why there's a T there, but it's looking okay. So let's have a try it, putting it all in place, sealing it in. Before I actually put my PVA stuff on, so I'm ready to go, I've just got a bottle with water in, and I'm just make sure obviously it plugs up, and just spraying some water over it just to dampen it, just to give it a free soak, and then we are ready to go basically. So I'm going to start this end and then work my way along. So I'm going to do this bit, come back along in the middle, do the outside, and do it, etc. So we'll see how we get on. And before I go on to doing the brown here, just with a very small brush, I'm just going to go in between any areas I don't want the ballast to dry, so on the sleepers, or it might be in a bit of a way. Just move it while it's not set, and then I ain't got to come back later and sort that out. So that's all been done. So I'm going to give that now 24 hours to dry, give it overnight, then come back tomorrow. I'm going to probably add in the bit of static grass to start and maybe start ballasting here, but I like doing this in little bits because I'm not the biggest fan of it, but doing it in little bits, it makes it a bit easier. So we'll come back tomorrow and do a bit more. So it's the next day and the ballast is rock hard and it's very so it's all dry, so we're going to fill in this bit now with some static grass, and now we just need to let it dry and then add another layer and just build it up slowly. But this scene's coming on quite nicely now. So I've moved the shelf back up onto the layout because I've got a bit more space now for bits and bobs down there. I've added a bit more ballast around here, so I'm just waiting for that to dry. And then she'll probably notice is I've started adding some fencing. There's only 2 1/4 bits. There's a joint there which I've hidden with a little bit of a tree, and same there. Move my hand out the way. So this will be the car parks where cars will be able to park. I'm not sure how I'll have it. And I've got other things like skips maybe to add in, etc. And then other people such. And then on the back side, again, I'm going to have that for more sort of railway vehicles. So I might have the odd van, cars, etc., and a few railway bits. So I've got like what we've got bags of sand, work people, etc. So just dottle things around, bit of a yard basically, add a few figures around there. So yeah, and then big one over there is the tree. Got that into position. So it's looking quite nice now. Quite looking forward to how it's going, and yeah, it's turning out quite nice. And we're back again the following day after doing a bit more. So I've added a little bit more ballast in. Like I said earlier on the video, I'll do this in a section, so added that bit in, and this section here, just finish that off. I'm still not done this point area. This section's for next to do. Add in some shrubbery and then some static grass here as well. And then while we're on static grass, add an extra layer to that one over there. I think I need to do maybe one more maybe, but it's coming up quite nice. Add in the final piece of fencing. And then I've put all these accessories in. None of these are glued down, just to give me a rough idea where things potentially could go. I quite like this scene over here. It looks quite nice, especially with the driver. And then in the background, I've just added in this Stobart rail lorry with a few wheels on the back and a couple of people in the background. And then added a few bits in front of the building. And then the big one, I've finally ballasted under the bridge. I need probably a little bit more, but if I shoot from there, it looks quite nice. And then obviously where my hand is now, there'll be a back scene there, so hopefully that'll look quite nice. So if I zoom out, as you can see, the scene's coming alive. Obviously I need to paint the foam in black and tidy that bit up, and this little bit up here, but overall it's coming on really well. So that is the end of this video. I'll just put a couple of trains out to run towards the end, but hopefully in the next video we'll have a bit more done. So thanks for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe, and see you on the next one.